Don't we all love just a good old Elliotte Friedman segment where he talks about trade rumors that he is hearing around the league? You want to be one of my 32 thoughts, he says? Let's go over onto what Elliotte Friedman said on the recent Hockey Night in Canada broadcast. I forgot which game this was during the intermission of, but he goes out there and highlights a trade idea between the Vancouver Canucks and the Ottawa Senators. Now, this was making its rounds on Twitter very, very prominently. You saw a lot of people on both sides talking about this thing right here. Pretty much what Friedman is saying is that the Sens and the Canucks have been discussing a trade involving two defensemen on their team, Tyler Myers and Nikita Zaitsev. Rob the Hockey Guy went out there and posted this screenshot on Twitter, and it kind of went viral. And you also had yourselves articles on Ottawa City News going out there and talking about the same thing. The reason I'm bringing up this article is because they transcribed what it was exactly that Friedman said. Canucks and Sens talked about a Myers for Zaitsev swap. I do think the two teams talked about it, Friedman said. It would give Vancouver a bit of cap relief, Ottawa help on defense, and I don't know where it stands right now, if it can be revived, but it was at some level discussed. Now, when it comes to both of these guys, I think if you had seen the Tyler Myers to Toronto video that we made, you kind of know my opinions on the guy already. And if you had seen that video, you would have seen me talking about the perspective of the rest of Canucks fandom and their response to Tyler Myers and his overall play. Pretty much, Myers has not been a fan favorite in the slightest. Sure, he is tied for tallest player in the NHL right now after Chara retired, something like that, but the big draft out there is also a slow draft, and he makes some bad plays, and he coughs the puck up, and he is a pylon once in a while, and he's making $6 million till the end of 2024. Meanwhile, you go over to the Ottawa Senators, and Nikita Zaitsev has been bad. Really bad. To the point that he probably shouldn't have even been given a spot on the team after the preseason. It was so bad that Sens fans everywhere that I saw on Reddit, on Instagram, on Twitter, were all just talking about Zaitsev more so than we have been used to seeing him get talked about in the past. We know that as a member of the Leafs and the Sens, Nikita Zaitsev has not been a fan favorite in the slightest. Sure, his first season in Toronto was okay, but that's about it. He quickly turned into the defensive scapegoat that he inevitably became and held up as a Sen and a Leaf. But it feels like this season it's been even worse, and combine that with the fact that you had yourselves the Nikita Zaitsev calling out fans on Instagram thing from a few days ago, it makes it even more sour, I feel, when you acknowledge Zaitsev's current trajectory and path as a member of the Ottawa Senators hockey team. He is now in the AHL after clearing waivers and getting assigned over there, so he's playing with the Belleville Senators, he's got a game, and I didn't watch the game, so I didn't know how well he played, but Nikita Zaitsev is Nikita Zaitsev, and if Vancouver is willing to send over a guy like Myers for Zaitsev, I honestly don't know who would be winning that trade. I could totally understand why each team would want to do this, though, because Tyler Myers, for all the crap that I've been talking about this guy over the past few years, is, at the very least, a passable NHL caliber D-man. And as we had talked about in the Maple Leafs video, he's big and he's right-handed, and it doesn't matter anything else about this guy. As long as you're big and right-handed, somebody will want you. Ristolainen got paid, Goodbranson got paid, Tyler Myers got paid, and because these guys are the way that they are, they'll get people wanting them on the trade market. As for the Ottawa Senators, they're getting a guy that actually can help them out on the D-core more so than a guy like Nikita Zaitsev, and heck, I would even argue more so than Travis Hamonic. I know Tyler Myers is like the Antichrist over... No, just kidding. That's a little bit too far. I'm joking, by the way. I'm joking. I know he's universally disliked in this market, but he was better than Hamonic by quite a lot, because they were both Canucks last year. So, yeah, there would be some sort of an improvement there made by the Ottawa Senators, but at the same time, for Vancouver, you might say, hey, their right side is already really bad. What do you mean trading away Tyler Myers for Nikita Zaitsev? They're just going to get worse. And for me, partly I'm thinking, yeah, I kind of want them to get worse. Let's get Connor Bedard. And I know that's not an idea that you could realistically say an NHL management team is going to get on board with. Oh, let's make this trade by trading a guy that we have for a guy that's worse. Why not do that, eh? Why not? And the reason it's actually interesting to think about here is because of the contract. Both Myers and Zaitsev expire in 2024. However, Zaitsev makes $1.5 million less than Tyler Myers does. Myers is at $6 million AAV, and Nikita Zaitsev is at 4.5. Now, I'm not saying that that's a good contract or anything. I'm just saying it's a little bit of savings right there. And Tyler Myers has been so not worth the money that he's been an eternal meme when it comes to the Canucks and their bad salary cap and their spending and whatever. So Nikita Zaitsev making the amount of money less that he is, it would provide the Vancouver Canucks with some cap relief, that in which they could use to explore other trades and make other acquisitions. Trading away Myers for Zaitsev makes your team worse, yes, but there is a reason why they would want to think about doing this if you're just thinking about a one-for-one trade perspective. Now, if you're not thinking about one-for-one, what exactly is the balance there? My question is, if it's not a one-for-one trade, who adds the extra assets? If it's Nikita Zaitsev and a second, or and a third, or and a sixth, or whatever, for Tyler Myers, is that a proper trade? Would the Sens be willing to pay a 6th-round pick to trade away Zaitsev and get Myers, who maybe he's better than Zaitsev, but he's still pretty not great? If the Vancouver Canucks end up adding on, then that'd be an absolute disaster. No way the Canucks are going out there and paying more draft picks to free up more salary. That backfired with Jason Dickinson, and now look at where they are today. If anything, since Ottawa would be getting the better player, I feel like it might just be a courtesy for them to add on the extra piece, whether that's a pick or a middling prospect or something. And at the same time, their reputation of Nikita Zaitsev is so poor that they could send him away with another asset too, and it'd be okay. Plus, the Canucks, since Zaitsev already passed their waivers, I think they'd have the ability to send him right to Abbotsford. Is that correct? Maybe teach Jet Wu a thing or two about defending. I don't know. But you know what else I'm thinking about as well? If you think the Ottawa Senators and their memes and their fans are ruthless to the point that Nikita Zaitsev himself is calling out guys on Instagram, and his father is as well, then I don't want Nikita Zaitsev anywhere near this Vancouver fan base, man. You talk about how Myers and the Goodbransons and the Spizas and all those guys get treated over here in this city. I'm thinking about what a Nikita Zaitsev impact would have, and boy, it's not great. You talk about Vancouver fans that are toxic, that comment on players' Instagram pages and everything. I know, it's not a good practice, but the harsh reality is there are people in this market that do that. By the way, don't do that. Don't comment on Instagram pages about players and everything and criticize them publicly. That's not cool. But if you think Nikita Zaitsev's already getting, kind of fed up with the Ottawa memes, then if Vancouver memes start going up and they start doing their thing, yeah, I don't know how that's going to go with the Zaitsev family. So, I don't know. I'm just that's an extra element I feel that was necessary to bring up, since the last time we did talk about Zaitsev, it was that Instagram Tom Holland Spider-Man meme that was very, very strange either way. But at the end of the day, talk to the comments on your thoughts about this idea by Elliotte Friedman. Zaitsev for Myers. Ottawa and Vancouver making a trade. I will say it doesn't not make sense. We already saw Tyler Myers as a linked defenseman to the Ottawa Senators earlier, I believe it was a few weeks ago, something like that. We made a video talking about how the Ottawa Senators might be looking towards Vancouver and Winnipeg for defenseman help after sending Zaitsev down on waivers and having him cleared. And I just kind of threw out, hey, it's Tyler Myers, and it might be a guy like Nate Schmidt, for example. Myers was just my speculation, so the fact that Vancouver actually did talk about a Myers trade for Zaitsev makes me feel like $1 million. I'm going to pat myself on the back for that one. Yeah, good job, me. Hopefully I can predict the next lottery numbers, now can't I? But either way, thoughts in the comment section below. Zaitsev for Myers. Would you do this trade if you're Patrick Allvin? Would you do this trade if you are the Ottawa Senators? I already saw a lot of the comments from, I believe it was the last time we had talked about the Ottawa Senators, and how if Dorian goes out there and makes a desperation move, a whole bunch of fans would be giving up even more so on the team and the direction, because that's a pretty bad team right there in terms of their performance. I know they've been hampered by injuries, but still, making a trade, sacrificing some of that future for an immediate short-term option now like Tyler Myers, especially a guy making $1.5 million more than Zaitsev, that's kind of sketchy. But either way, we'll leave that up to Dorian and Allvin to discuss. Talk to the comments on your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.